Did you know the government can literally manufacture a housing boom or trigger a housing crash? Let me show you how. Most people think the housing markets are controlled by supply and demand, mortgage rates, and home buyers. But here's the truth: the US government has the power to manufacture a housing boom or engineer a housing crash. And the reason why? They control Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, the two largest players in the mortgage market. Since 2008, these agencies have been in government conservatorship, which means the government, not private investors, call the shots. So when the government wants to pump up home prices, they do it. And when they want to trigger a correction, that's in their power too. How the government can create a housing boom. Let's say government wants home prices to rise fast. Here's what they do. They lower mortgage standards by allowing lower credit scores, smaller down payments, and riskier loans. They expand the pool of buyers, more buyers, higher home prices. They keep foreclosures off the market. Instead of allowing distressed homes to hit the market, they use forbearance programs, loan modification, and foreclosure delays. This shrinks housing supply, making prices go even higher. They inject money into the housing program, just like Biden just signed the FHA mortgage assistance program for 2026. The government can create new loan subsidiaries to artificially prop up demand. They manipulate interest rates through the Federal Reserve. Lower interest rates mean cheaper mortgages, which fuels buyer demand and sends home prices soaring, as we saw. The result, a housing boom where home prices rise faster than wages, forcing people to take on a massive debt just to afford a home. Sound familiar? How the government can trigger a housing crash. But what happens if the government decides it's time for the prices to drop? They tighten mortgage requirements, raising credit score minimums, requiring bigger down payments, and making loans harder to get. This shrinks the pool of buyers overnight. They let foreclosures hit the market. Right now, over 7 million homes have been kept out of foreclosure thanks to government intervention. If Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac stopped preventing foreclosures, all those distressed homes would flood the market, tanking prices and the market with it. They cut government mortgage support. If they end FHA and VA loan programs or make them harder to qualify for, fewer buyers can afford homes. They rise interest rates through the Fed. Higher mortgage rates, fewer buyers, falling home prices. The result, home prices plummet and people lose the home equity overnight. Is this what's happening right now? So let's put this all together. Biden signed the FHA mortgage assistance bill for 2006, but notice the delay. That means struggling homeowners get no help in 2024 or 2025. If foreclosures rise, that could push home prices down. Foreclosures are being held back. But for how long? If Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac decide to start allowing these homes to hit the market, it could trigger a massive correction. Interest rates are still high. Buyers can't afford homes at today's rates, so demand is shrinking. But prices haven't fallen yet because supply is artificially restricted. So Biden signed into law to start February of 2026 to give mortgage foreclosure homeowners the ability to keep their houses, to save their homes. Doing this strategically so that we watch the real estate market crash in 2025 under Trump, and then here comes the Biden law and it starts to prop up and save homeowners, and everybody says, see, Biden was planning ahead and Trump didn't do anything. This is their plan. It could still be changed. It's not set in stone. Trump could easily get rid of that protection that's in place to start February 2026. Does this sound like a setup for a market crash, or is the government holding everything together just long enough to prevent one? How much of the market does the government control? Here's where things get even crazier. The market isn't just influencing the housing market, they practically own it. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac own or guarantee over 56% of all single-family mortgages in the US. That's more than 5.4 trillion in mortgage debt. At their peak, they controlled 70% of mortgage-backed securities, meaning nearly 3 out of every 4 homes were backed by them. Let that sink in. Over half of all homes with mortgages in America are controlled by just two government-backed companies. And if you think that's bad, it gets worse. The federal government also backs FHA and VA loans through Fannie Mac. Didn't even know that until I did the research. When you add all that into the mix, the federal government directly controls 90% of the mortgage market. So when the government wants a housing boom, they make it happen. They prevent foreclosures. And when they decide it's time for a correction, they stop propping the market up, let foreclosures happen, let foreclosures hit the market. Lastly, the bigger question, who really controls the market? Here's the real issue. The government isn't just reacting to the housing market, they're controlling it. When they want a boom, again, they create one. When they want to crash, they let it happen. So the question is, what's coming next? Will they prop up the market again, or will they finally let home prices fall? Because if they pull back their support, housing can plunge overnight. What do you think? Are we heading for another crash? You know my opinion. Or is the government going to keep the markets propped up? Let's talk about it.